Greetings, everybody. This is Zarin here, and welcome to another video. Today, we're doing some more tech, like we did back in August, but today, we're doing something a little bit different. We are not going to be building a PC for myself. We are rather going to be building a PC for my mom, because she needs a new one, it's starting to have problems, and it is really old. So, I'm very excited. This has literally been like 2 or 3 months into the making. And a lot of this stuff, I'm just happy that we managed to even get it. Hello? You're in the shots? Okay. So, now, we're going to be having a lot of fun today because I haven't built a PC in a few months and I really want to do it again. So, let's get into it. So, we're going to start off as usual with our rationale. What parts did we choose? Why did we choose them? And would I recommend them for your own system? Okay. So first up on the list, we've got our processor. You can kind of tell that this is an Intel CPU, not AMD. We'll get to why we did that in a little bit later. But first, the processor, which is the heart of any system, the Intel Core i3-10100. It is the budget processor for Intel's Core i3 10th generation series. And when I say budget, I mean it is as budget as the Core i series gets right now. Yes, you can get more budget with like a Celeron or a Pentium, but for right now, this Core i3 is as budget as any Core i series system is available right now. So, now, one thing to note is that this is a very, very solid processor for anyone who's wanting to get a processor for like under $200. Actually, under $130 if you can find it right now. It's got 4 cores, 8 threads, meaning you're going to have handy gaming performance and in some cases some light streaming if you want to do that, because it's not dual core that's going to do that. And with a 3.6 gigahertz base and over 4 gigahertz boost, it is perfect for someone who doesn't want to do overclocking, because you can't do overclocking on this. This has a locked multiplier. But if you manage to get one of these and you're going budget, it should be a good idea. Rationale behind this, reason why we chose this.
It was cheap.
I agree with the camera person. This was a cheap processor at the time. It was like $120 or something like that. Don't quote me on that. That might have changed since then.
$99.
Okay, fair enough. It also comes with a thermal solutions. Yes, it's Intel stock. I know I've heard through the grapevine that the Intel stock cooler is not amazing, but if you're not going to be really pushing your CPU and you want as budget as it gets, stock cooler is going to be just fine. Also, her system had a stock cooler for several years. One thing is, now, why we went Intel, Mom wanted to use a platform that she had used for many years and just didn't want to go AMD. I know, I love Ryzen as much as anybody now, but that's her choice. She does what she wants to do with her PC. So, would I recommend this? If you want to go Intel, yes. If you're going budget. If you're going with the AMD side of things, go with a 3100 or a 3300X, because that's definitely going to get you a little bit better performance than this for lower price if you can find it. Alright. Now, this is something I've been excited for as well. The motherboard. Yes, we had to pull out a few of the stocks for this, so I would not usually recommend this for a budget Intel build. But anyways, we have the MSI Mag B460M Bazooka. Yes, this is a MSI Arsenal gaming board, which is one of, I believe there are 3 lineups. Don't quote me on that, but it's one of their 3 main lineups. And why they went with Arsenal is because it's got like that military grade, industrial kind of feel to it. And there's actually an image of the board on the back. So, quite a small board, but if you want to have that industrial feel, you've got the board for you. You got the board. So, it's a B460M, meaning it is a micro ATX board, which would fit in most cases, not all of them. Some of them don't support the size of the board, but if you do have a case that has that, then this board is just the right size for that. It's got the B460 chipset, so not quite the high performance of the Z490, but not quite H410, which is budget. Like that, I would use that for like a Celeron or a Pentium, not a Core i series processor. It's got Optane. It's Optane ready, meaning if you have some sort of Optane drive to speed up your hard drives, bam, this motherboard supports it, and it supports 10th gen Core i series, or Core series. Now, there are quite a few things with this board, including that it is MATX, as I said previously. It's got 4 DDR4 RAM slots, meaning if you only have 2 DIMMs, you could upgrade it in the future. And yes, we are using 2 DIMMs, more on that later. And it has support for, I believe, it says, I'm pretty sure it says on here. It does not say its exact speed of RAM. I'm pretty sure this is like over 4,000 megahertz top speed at OC. OC means overclock for those of the uninitiated. It also features PCIe steel armor. Has steel, or I'm assuming metal plating on the PCI slot. This gives you less flexibility, meaning you're less likely to break the PCI slot, not digitally with the pins and all that, but rather instead of breaking the external, meaning it's more reliable for a longer period of time. You also get an M.2 Shield Frozer. Cool name. It's got an M.2 slot, which is going to be perfect because we do have a little bit of a something that I wanted to use for a while. And it's got a heatsink on it, meaning if you have any sort of superheated SSD, this will be the perfect board for that. Why we chose this board? It was also pretty cheap. No, it's not the budget that we would have got. It's about like $120-ish, 110, 120 bucks depending on where you look. But if you do want to have a high performance B460, it's the perfect option. Now, I personally use a B450 Tomahawk board, but this one, if you're going Intel, this should be good enough for most people. Would I recommend this for any build? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that that this is a solid budget board for those who, want to have the performance, but no if you're trying to go for a lower budget. A little bit of a downside there, but there are always caveats with everything. Even the highest performing things have the caveat of being expensive. Now, on to RAM. And this was actually something I'm going to outright say, I will not recommend this kit of RAM, not Team RAM specifically, but the kit that she got. So, this is the Team T-Force Vulcan Z. It's DDR4 gaming RAM, and it is basically great budget RAM. I've heard many people say that this is as solid as it gets in some cases, not all cases, but it depends on what you're using it for. But if you're into Team, you can use that kind of RAM. Yes, it is silver or gray, and it is DDR4 3000, not 3200. I recommended 3200. You get higher speed, but in her defense, my mom did get 16 gig. No, not 16. This is 32 gigs of RAM. So I said go 16 gigs at 3200 speeds. You are going to see better performance than her DDR3, which is really slow by today's standards. Now, yes, this is no special kit of RAM. This isn't some sort of like master performance, like ultimate performance RAM, but it does have a pretty nice looking SSD. I can't get them out of the packaging right now, but it does have a pretty nice SSD. It is, as I said before, DDR4 3000, so yes, a little bit slower than 3200. She's got 32 gigs of it. So that means she's going to basically run any of her applications that she's doing right now. None of them, I'm assuming, are RAM intensive. And if she does get to some of those times, where you do get to do RAM intensive tasks, this RAM will definitely support her. I don't think we're going to need to use any sort of other upgrade to RAM. I think this should be good enough for her for a long time. Not forever, obviously. Eventually, DDR5 is going to come out. Hopefully, that we'll see about that in the future. But for right now, this is solid RAM. Thank you. And now, for probably one of the crown jewels of this, the Samsung 970 EVO 500 gig drive. I'm excited for this because not only is this an NVMe M.2 SSD, so higher performance than something like a SATA 3 hard drive, or even SSD in that case. But it's also from Samsung, meaning it's super reliable and super blazing fast. Now it is 500 gigs, so not quite the 1 terabyte to 2 terabyte maximum that I would say would be like the best of them all, but it's 500 gigs. And it is, for right now, as far as I'm aware, $60. So you're going to definitely see performance out of this. It also features a 5-year limited warranty, so yes, it is limited, but it's 5 years worth. So if this goes down, you should be able to warranty it for the next 5 years or so. Now, I know the 980 series is out, but that's expensive, and this board does support it, but the processor does not support Gen 4, PCI Gen 4. So it's a little bit of a thing there, but this is still a great SSD. 500 gigs at blazing fast speed for $60. I would say get this, no, hands down. Now, yes, I'm not sure exactly if that price changed or if you can actually find one of these because it's such a great deal, but I would definitely recommend it for this deal. And yes, she has been using 2 hard drives. So she's going to definitely see OS boot times go down significantly and see games perform a lot better. The latter might be a little bit weird in that case, but who knows? All right. Don't fall. Next up is our graphics card. This was the hardest part to find, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people could agree. This is the EVGA GeForce GTX 1650 SC Ultra Black Edition. Yes, it's an EVGA card. It's a 1650, so yes, it's not a super, which a lot of people say supers are better than this. Yes, but in terms of price, this is where you want to be for budget, about 1650 super best. Now, graphics cards is, like, right now, as far as I'm aware, is the worst time to get graphics cards because of the new RTX 30 series with GTX cards supposedly being out of production and the RX cards being, bought by the truckload because the 6000 series is currently unavailable. But we were able to find one, so we got it. Now, this, I'm pretty sure, has 4 gigs of GDDR6 RAM. I'm pretty sure it's 6. I'm pretty sure it's GDDR6. I'm not sure if it's GDDR5, so we'll check that out when we actually get to using it. It has a lot of other features, including DisplayPort 1.4, HDMI 2.0B, not 2.1. That comes later on. And it's just a really solid card if you're willing to pay less than $170 for a card, which my mom wanted it to be that way. It's got a dual fan design with a very nice heatsink. I've never actually seen one of these in the flesh. I've seen them in videos and pictures, so I'm pretty sure this is kind of what I think it's going to be. It's got a PCIe 16X slot, so it'll work perfectly with... Hold on. I can't hold 2 things at once. Haha! This one has that PCIe 16X slot. So this should work. Now, would I recommend this card? Yes, if you can find one. These things they're either out of stock everywhere, or if you find them, their prices are jacked up most of the time, unless they're refurbished or B-stock. Even then, it's still expensive. But if you can, hook yourself up with a GTX 1650. Actually, probably an RX 580 if you want a little bit better. All right. The next parts are kind of ones that you're going to need in any system anyways. Oh, including, yes, the power supply. The Roseville Arc 450. This is a 450 watt power supply from Roseville. So they don't make high-end power supplies like Corsair or Seasonic, but they do make budget power supplies, and they are pretty solid from what I've heard. It's 80 plus bronze efficiency, so yes, this is going to give you better reliability for a longer period of time and more efficiency compared to something like a non-80 plus or 80 plus standard. It's a smaller power supply, and it's a 450 watt. Go with a 500 watt if you can afford it, but this was bundled with the case. More on that in a minute. And realistically, we don't need more than like 300 watts of power. Like, this graphics card shouldn't be that power hungry. It's non-modular, meaning you cannot, put in the right cables. You're going to need to leave out others like Molex and so forth, but it does come with everything. It's actually a nice power supply. It's all black cables. It's not the stupid ketchup and mustard cables. I don't understand. Why can't you just use black? Anyways, so it's got everything you need, including a braided 24-pin connector that actually still breaks off into the, pretty sure this is the 20 plus 4-pin thing, so very nice to see there. And this is going to be, this is budget, so that means, and if you could get one of these on Amazon with a bundle, with a case, you can expect to see some pretty good deals. Now, for about 45 bucks ish, something like that, it's great for any budget system. Unless you want to go with a higher end system, then go with something like a Corsair or an Apivia. More on that another time. And then finally, the case. Yes, we did go with another Rosewell product. Yes, we may have spent a little bit extra on the power supply bundle, but you know what? This is the case that you're going to probably need for a while. This is the Rosewell Zircon T. I don't think anybody's really done a video on a case like this, and I've got to say, I really like Rosewell cases. It's got these perforations on the front, meaning you got a little bit of airflow. I mean, this is solid. So if you want better airflow, don't go with this case because this is just on this side. But it goes all the way up, apart from something like mine, which only went up to like this high, like about this high max. But you know what gives? It's a good case for airflow here and here because it's got spaces for 3 120 millimeter fans. I'm pretty sure this is 120, but then you could also change it according to your fan size. So that's pretty nice. It's got 3 of those, and each of them is equipped with a fan filter. So less dust, excuse me, and personally I just think that's a lot of fan expandability. You've got one pre-installed on the back, which is also 120 millimeter. Yes, it's a Rosewell stock, but you know what gives. It's got another one on the front. It's got a 5 1/4 inch bay, meaning you can support an optical drive or a card reader if you've got that kind of thing. If you still have it, actually. It's got I/O on the front. It's pretty standard. It's got a power button, no reset switch. At least I'm pretty sure there's no reset switch. I can't seem to find it. It's got headphone jack, microphone jack, 3 USB ports, including a USB 3, so that means you get higher conductivity speeds. If you were to put in something like a USB stick, or in some cases peripherals are better with them. Not always, but I'm pretty sure. It's got acrylic side panels, so yes, it is a little bit risky because if you're doing maintenance on it, this thing can explode. From what I've heard, that sometimes does happen. There is one thing though, it's pretty hard to get cases nowadays that don't have acrylic. That isn't like some sort of NAF looking case. Also, it's satisfying peel. It's got one on the inside as well, and this is going to show off all the parts on the inside. And on the back, it's got a pretty standard punched out design, so you can do a little bit of cable management, not a ton, but we're also using a non-modular power supply. So, with all that in mind, and with this build finally beginning, I think it's safe to say that we can build this thing. So, Greetings everyone, this is Zerd18 and welcome back to the building a PC for my mom saga. It's another day, mainly because we couldn't show the system yet, and yes, it took 2 hours as basically intended. So this is what it looks like. That kind of nice there, that black tower, and then as we move over, you can see the inside. Now there is a little bit of a reflection there, but you can kind of see a little bit something there. Yeah. So this build took a little bit longer, and the camera person, name not disclosed, whoever it is not disclosed, did help me out a little bit. A lot of the stuff is stuff I haven't done solo yet. But I think it's safe to say that it's complete. We got set up. Just need to do benchmarking. So let's move on to benchmarking, baby. I wasn't actually able to record the benchmarking that had been done, so any sort of scores I am not certain of. I was not given permission to do said benchmarking. So I'm sorry if you wanted to see the scores, but I can assure you that my friend's new computer is definitely better than her previous one. Alright? So just bear with me. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. This is just to clarify, there was benchmarking done. Well, there was no benchmarking actually done. I had intended on doing so, but I was not given the ability to do so. So, as a result, there has been no benchmarking done, so I'm sorry. But, as I said before, I can assure you that this new computer is better than the old one. Okay? So, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you want to. If you don't want to, that's cool. If you do want to, however, that's also cool. I'm going to have the specifications of the computer listed down below, both of them, just in case if you're curious about it or something like that. Alright, other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will definitely see you in the next one.